If you'd like to see more, please subscribe, like, or comment on this post. Feel free to share it with whomever you feel to allow us to reach more audiences. Thank you. Oh my gods. Everything they knew, everyone they loved, who had survived the war up to this point were experiencing time faster than the 3 Battlestars that were trying to avoid plunging into a star at near light speed.
Now playing on BattlestarMercury.com and YouTube at Battlestar Mercury.
A lot.
Hello,
or not.
Hello, YouTubers. This is Mercury Actual. I'm recording a special program which I may air very soon. It is now the March 31st, 2025. It is already April Fool's Day, April 1 in Europe. I'm with Jaros and Madness. Madness is a very good new player at this game who is already, I believe we were 2-2 against each other, or maybe I'm 3-2. I don't remember. And Jaros has just purchased the game, so we're going to do a brief lesson in the ships of the game. This is a turn-based game. If you don't know it, please register the game and register for the Battlestar Galactica Deadlock. What do they call these things?
Unity?
No, I'm at a loss for a word here. It's Discord. It's a Discord for the game, and it's a great way to make matches and meet people and arrange to play the game and get tips. Also, obviously, if you're watching this, you've discovered at Battlestar Mercury on YouTube, and BattlestarMercury.com is the fan fiction novel. Combat scenes are shot in this game, and I've obviously somewhat manipulated and a lot of editing and cutting to make things come out the way the story's supposed to come out. But I'm going to run through the Colonial ships, and I'm going to build a fleet of some kind and discuss the positive and negative aspects of certain ships. All right, here we're going to call this our demonstrator fleet. Not necessarily going to take this one to battle, but hit create. Now there are this interface is a little clunky at times. Sometimes you'll find that the menu extends beyond where the menu appears on screen, and that's the way it goes. Okay, so I'm gonna, if you start the game, the way to start is always the campaign game, and I'm going to go through some of the ships that you get out of the box in that space. If I can remember that, add a ship. Of course, the game is like sitting here saying, it's laughing at me saying, you click the button, and I'm going to think about giving you an answer one of these days. Okay, there it goes. I will say, if you want perfection in programming, you don't want to go to this game with 6-person team building it, because that was not enough people. There's some bugs that are built in. Development has stopped in this game, but it's a really awesome game, and I think everybody should learn how to play it because I'm a Battlestar Galactica fan. And it's fun to play. So here we go.
And
As a software
at this
developer,
point, I want
say
to
it's
say
hard to
that.
work.
Oh. Let's say for the people that don't know the game, it's not full of bugs or so. I don't know if Unix made it said it correctly there. I wanted to say that if there are still bugs in the game, they are very minor and
Yes.
they don't harm the gameplay.
I totally agree. There are some annoying ones, but the game was stable, and in most players, most hardware, even Windows 11, which the game was written for and tested on Windows 10, this game will work. Now, I'm going to go through some ships here. I'm going to build a funky fleet of some kind. This is called the Manicore. Yeah. Manicore has, it's got basically, it's not a high, it goes on maneuverability and speed. It carries a number of different weapon systems. It's got one forward-mounted cannon that shoots pretty accurately, but not very fast. It also has two higher speed weapons between its engine pods. So if you fly this thing underneath a Cylon fleet, or say a formation of them under a Cylon fleet, it can tear up the underside,
Oh,
tear up the. It's got anti-aircraft speed. This is the fastest ship in the Colonial game, and it's got the best greatest.
Unix, by the way, do we have a stream running where we can see what you're explaining?
Dummy! I knew I forgot something.
I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah, because
Perfect.
make myself into a figure idiot. That's wonderful. Oh, let me share the damn
So we
Discord.
included a tutorial how to make a stream not.
Okay, here we go.
Um,
Because I'm in the Battlestar Galactica Devs Discord, the default stream is this game, so it's pretty.
Perfect.
There we go.
Here we go.
By the way, in the meantime, I will rearrange my working place here where I'm sitting. I have to rearrange it
Oh,
to have a better
also,
seat and so.
I have built a new fleet just for you today, Matt. And it's 12K fleet. It is completely different than anything you've ever seen from me before.
Okay.
This is the Manicore. I'm pointing now. My mouse. I don't know if my mouse shows in the videos. It probably doesn't.
I'll be right back. You can
Okay.
continue if you want.
Here we go. There's the engine pods. There's 2 light guns here. You fly this guy under, like a formation of 2 or 3 of these guys underneath Silent Raiders. They can tear it up, and the Raiders don't know what hit them because the Raiders are like, wait, who's shooting at us? Fastest ship in the game, and on full defensive, this thing has 9 kilometers straightish range, which is very good as a scout ship. It's not very good as a ship that lasts very long. It's very easily gets shot up very badly. It has no flak. It has almost no armor, but it has a purpose. The next ship, the Celestra, is a ship you get either by buying a DLC or I think you earn it during the first campaign. It is a cargo ship. It has no weapons. It is also very useful as a torpedo. If you need them to take out an enemy ship, it is very fast and very maneuverable. And I once watched a player named Joker. Watch out for Joker, by the way. He once ran 2 of these things into the side of a Mercury class that was pretty battered. It didn't blow up in the first one yet. It took heavy damage, and the second one basically just flew through the wreck and blew me apart. And it was like no fun to lose a Mercury to a Celestra. All right, let's take the weapons choices here. Go back here for a minute. We can't do that anymore. Yeah, all right, so yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. All right, next ship. I think you get this pretty early in the game where you earn it in the first opening rounds of the campaign. The Berserk. Berserk is an interesting little ship on its own. It is, and there is built into the campaign game a close-up that lets you see the ship's details better than you can see in this format, which I probably should show to people anyway. But Berserk is an interesting ship. It's lightly armored. You see it in the opening scene. It's parked next to, I think it's parked next to Pegasus in that episode of the series when they're doing the flashback to the attack on the shipyards during the Razor movie. Berserk carries no munitions, but it carries has a fighter slot. This is the full list of fighters. The Mark I original fighter is is okay, but modern Cylons can outmaneuver it. It doesn't do well against the Mark II Viper or the Mark VII Viper, which were introduced much later. The Mark VII Viper is not allowed in the campaigns, although there are ways to sneak it in there. So you can carry a Raptor. That's just the same uses as in the show. It can carry Marines. It can do boarding. It's often you have to do boardings in the show. Something else you earn or purchase with a DLC or both. Assault Raptor is a heavier Raptor. It can improve the accuracy by painting a target, just like some weapon systems the United States and NATO uses. And The sweeper is a tactical defensive craft. It can be used to lay down a wall of chaff. Not as effective as, say, flak, but helpful in knocking down heavy Cylon missile fleets. The arming of the earlier Colonial ships are mostly broadside power. There's a good range and accurate guns right along the launch pad, the bottom edge of the Berserk here. The Berserk is the second cheapest way to bring firepower to the game in a person v person, nicknamed PvP format.
And it has better firing range than most of the Colonial ships.
Absolutely does, and it's got very good accuracy as well. It comes with one squadron, and for 650 points in the PvP game, it is the second best bargain for getting a fighter squadron into the game. I will tell you a quick, very short story. I once had a fleet that included a Jupiter and 7 Berserks, and it was doing really great until the Cylons blew away my Jupiter, and the nuke that was aimed at the Jupiter flew through the wreck of the Jupiter and hit one of my Berserks that was in formation, and all 7 Berserks blew up on splash damage. So that was a negative outcome. Berserk has its purposes. It is fragile. It gets beat up pretty badly. All right.
It's not a frontline ship.
No, I have it behind beefier ships, and it can reach across them. And in this game, on a practical basis, your own bullets don't hurt you. Your own missiles can hurt your ships, but your own bullets don't hurt you that much. Defender
in case of emergency, I would say the Berserk can do a flank run.
Yeah, that's true. I've used it in a lot of different formats, and it gets tiring after a while because, the accuracy is amazing. The fact that it doesn't have the missile slots for the harder targets is tough. Okay, I'm going to go to the Adamant next. Okay, no.
I learned the missile lesson about friendly fire the hard way the other day.
Yeah, it's a lesson we all learned the hard way. Okay, Adamant. Adamant is 750. It also includes 1 squadron. It's like a little mini Battlestar, and it looks like a teeny little like a pocket Battlestar. The thing you learn about this is it has almost although its missile port can fire torpedoes or any other weapons out forward or PCMs. Its primary guns are on the broadside as well. You see those, if you look along the line that's going through here, those are pretty accurate, not as accurate as the Berserk guns, and it also, that in the weapon slot for only 100 more points makes it a big choice. My go-to fleet in the campaigns after the Jupiter 2 is earned is thus: 2 Jupiter 2s to put a huge flak wall, and 2 Adamants hiding behind each Jupiter 2. Any target that approaches that gets like Cylon Raiders, or whatever, gets a lot of very accurate fire. It works on the fighters, combined with the dozen or so point defense cannons that are on the Jupiter 2 and the Jupiter 1s, the bottom edge of his flight pod, which also puts out his flak. And it's like if you approach that straight level, you might as well. It's a suicide run. The Jupiter 2 has, which we'll get to soon enough, has got excellent armament and pretty accurate, especially the point defense cannons on the flight pods. I've not gone over every ship here because, like, for example, the Defender is not available until the second season, third DLC or second DLC. The what do they call that game? Was the Ghost Fleet. Minotaur is a specialty ship. It's a good bargain, but it has no fighters. I'll show you what it looks like here. And
Your gunship.
It's a gunship, and it is a fearsome. It shoots. It's more effective from below than above, but it has a very high firing rate. And it's pretty maneuverable. And again, this is another example of a broadside weapon. There's these little orange lines. Maybe we should go to a different color. These are there's Viper launch, not Viper launch. There's no Vipers on this ship. They have several rows of guns, and a pair of these can take on a bigger Battlestar and defeat a bigger Battlestar very easily. Highly maneuverable, better low. The adamant, but all three of these ships are broadside, pretty much only effectiveness. So you have to arrange your fleet so you don't point the nose at your enemy. You point the broadside at them, and then all of a sudden you've got 30 guns hitting one enemy target at the same time, and you're a happy commander because you just won the match.
But we have also a difference here between Adamant, Berserk, and the Minotaur, because the Minotaur is the first one in the row that has top and bottom guns that can shoot 380 degrees.
60 degrees, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. 20 degrees extra.
Well, it's good that you're generous with the degrees there, Madness. It's true. All right, this is the Janus. Janus is a ship that comes into the game as a result of the political aspect of the game. The Vergons are double dealing with the Cylons, and this is a ship from the pre-Colonial Wars. It is tanky. It cannot shoot up to save its life. It has no upward-facing guns, and but it has 3 missile slots with a slow reload time. So
it's a little bit comparable to the Manticore from the Shooting Hawks. I would say the nose guns shoot a little bit forward, but mainly downward.
You're right. It looks like it does look like someone took a Manticore and made it beefier and fatter and longer. And you see, it's
not only from the looks, but from the how it works.
Yeah. That's good, very good point. Again, in the campaign game, there is a ship guide. It does not include the Valkyrie or the Mercury because those were modern ship packs added in there. As I said earlier, they're not part of the campaign game, and putting them in the campaign game is a license violation.
Janus is in the campaign.
Janus is, yes. That these ships, as far as where their guns are, there's a whole a ship inspector built into the campaign game for the Colonial fleet, and you can get better looks than you're getting here. But this thing is a tanky one, the Janus, and it's fun to play. And I directly compare it to the next ship, which is the same price.
Before you go on, I would delete the other ships so we can have a clear view and discuss the difference between the Ranger and the Janus.
Absolutely, I think it's a great idea. That's why I'm glad you decided to speak in the videos, because you said something very useful. Thank you.
No problem. You're welcome.
All right, so here is Janus Cruiser. He's got the 3 weapon slots. The reload time is 3 turns. Here is the fearsome modern Ranger, named after Waggle. That's Waggle is one of the beta testers of the game. Wagglepuss the third. He is one of the best players that ever played the game. His mother should have a complete recovery. He's pretty much taking care of her after an illness. He's not around very much, but because he helped beta test, he has one ship named after him, the Waggle. I never change the Waggle if the name comes up at random, because out of respect for Waggle. Okay, Ranger Cruiser has somewhat better, more accurate guns, somewhat better range, less armor, but its reload rate is 1 every turn. It can 1 turn reload, so you can have a Ranger can put out weapons way faster. So if you want to get a wall of PCM up, something like that. Let me get you the closer up view of this. Maybe I'll put it more toward the star kind so you can see more. Ranger is same as the Janus, only really shoots accurately down. It has, I think, it can't really shoot very effectively above its height. So your Ranger is going to be a high ship. And by the way, G-Dog has a better ship introduction than I do. Any comments on the Ranger other than less tanky? Oh, it's much faster than the Janus. The Janus
for the guns, I would say it's more like the other ships we had before mainly has guns that shoot sideways.
Oh, broadside.
Or
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Broadsides, yes. And 2 guns on the bottom that obviously shoot down.
And pretty
But
effectively, but not fast.
This guy is not a gunship.
No, it's not. It's more. It's a fast reload of munitions.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to take these 2 ships out because the next class of ships we're going to work on are more the fighter carriers styles. Okay, we add a ship here. Add a ship.
What you forgot maybe to mention is that the Janus has a greater salvo size for the munition it fires, which can make a difference when you fire torp salvos, for example, but makes no difference when you fire mines.
I didn't know that, so that's why I didn't say it. All right, Orion is a later ship game. It is a stealthy ship. It is portrayed in the game as a stealthy ship. It has a fighter. It has a large weapons salvo size at full attack, like 18 torpedoes. I think it can shoot. It's not a broadside ship. This is a ship that you generally, although the AI will fly it high, its guns face upward, and this is like 10 upward-facing guns. You fly 2 of these under an unsuspecting Viper squadron, and there's not much of a Viper squadron left after a couple turns. Very vulnerable to air attack, but even in stealth mode, fighters can find it. The thing about this ship is, besides being fragile, is in stealth mode, you can't lock a gun on it or missiles on it. But if you fire like a nuke at it, and he goes stealth, and when it goes unstealth, and the nuke will suddenly pick it up like a dog and sniff it out and come back toward it. So one way to suppress this ship is to get a couple of missiles to circle it or hang around in the area, and eventually there are ways around it. You can actually direct sometimes you get it near a flacking ship, and that'll help.
Yeah.
But it's.
I thought if the lock-on is lost, they will fly to.
They fly kind of wild, but a nuke and some other guided missiles will fly back toward it. So you get tips from me because I played a lot of games. All right.
Yeah. Also mentioning that when you jump in with your fleet into the match, this ship is from the beginning in stealth mode, so the opponent cannot see it on Dradis. There's only a Dradis symbol coming up for the opponent when this ship turns off the stealth mode, but then it will stay on Dradis.
Yep. All right, this is the next ship we want to go is Atlas Carrier. Atlas Carrier is the best value. It is 1,100 points. That's 550 for a fighter slot. Let me add it in here so you can see it. It has reasonably accurate guns, but it was a first war emergency ship, which means it was put out there to improve air power. It was not designed to be able to go toe-to-toe with Cylon gunships or Battlestars. It carries 2 fighter slots and 1 Raptor slot, so it's the best value. Lowest cost 550 hull points per fighter squadron, which makes it half the cost of, say, a Jupiter 1. All right, so carries. What else about the? Atlas is very tanky, heavy armor. Its fire control was on the right side. You don't want to show. You want to try to avoid showing the enemy your right side, because if you shoot through its armor, its fire control was pretty easy to wreck. So one of the tells when I'm flying them is I'll have my fleet face its left side to the enemy. That keeps a lot of armor between the enemy and the fire control of the Atlas. Anything else you've learned about the Atlas that you want to share there?
What maybe I'm not sure if you forgot to say it when you brought up the Berserk. Important point about carriers is that they have different evasion stats.
Oh yeah, fighters get
evasion. determines how evasive the squadron is you launch from this specific ship. It negates the percentage amount of damage, you could say. And Atlas, if you have a Viper squadron on your Atlas, it's better than, let's say, a Viper squadron that you are carrying on your Artemis or so, for example.
It's better than I think it's the boost. The evasion on this is 30 or 35. The evasion on the
35.
Battlestar is 20. Maybe 25 for the Mercury. I don't remember, but evasion does it. Evasion does. Yeah, there are guides. We'll try and get links into the video possibly. There's actual guides and all this stuff. You just look at Waggle's guide to Battlestar Galactica Deadlock, and you'll find actual statistics and numbers that have that are more accurate than what's stuck in my head. All right. Next, we're gonna go through this is let's see here. Okay, that'll roll. The next ship class. This is Heracles. Is basically a gunship with a lot of high-speed weapons. It's very good against anti-fighters. It's not well armored. It's not even as well armored as the Minotaur, but it is a pair of them can take on any Battlestar, and it's got good range. Let's give you a look at the ship here. Why does it keep putting it on the center line? Because I wanted people to see it, and the center line's all orange.
Maybe you should go to practice and change the background map so that we have a better vision.
I can't do that in here in the Fleet Builder, unfortunately. This is the only map that shows up with the Fleet Builder. But you're right.
No, that's not correct. If you
that's right.
Go to practice,
if you go to practice mode, you're right. Let's go.
Just change the map.
Let's go there.
Give it a try.
Yeah, well, we have to have a fleet to edit. We'll just have to leave this Heracles in here. The fleet has to have something in it in order to find it. Demonstrate or demo. So we'll do that. We can pick a better map for the rest of this demo. And,
yeah, the fourth one in the row. Go to practice.
Yeah.
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 And click it.
Yeah. All right. Now.
And then just select another map, and then you can go back to just the map.
Yeah, I wanted to raise the point level. Okay,
the fourth one, Dark Nebula, is
Dark Nebula is it's good to see two background ships there. It has
and
an
then
edit. You just go proceed and you pick your fleet.
No.
Yeah.
Go back, please. It changes the background completely for your multiplayer menu.
It did. And now I pick up the.
We are not in Fleet Edition mode, please. Maybe it's a trick for the new ones. Let's tell them this. Please go to
right there.
Go back.
Edit mode.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. That's not what I've meant, but
it does. It's pretty much.
You meant to go back
the same.
to the Fleet Builder, yeah?
Yeah, there's three ways to do almost anything in Windows or this game. There's a much better background to look at this ship. He's got 10 guns mounted on the bottom, 10 guns mounted on the top, and I think he's got two what they call them, door bangers or head bangers or something bangers in the front.
Knockers.
Door knockers. That's it. Door knockers. Heracles is very good ship. Not too many of them because it's too many of them. It puts out fire at an amazing rate. I mean, if you want to have a fleet with seven of these things, then it's going to do you very well. Except when your opponent figures out you're doing that to them, and they just stand off and hit you with a bunch of Mark 7 Vipers.
It has flak though, I believe.
It does have flak. It is the second. Well, until the Defender comes along in the Ghost Fleet mission in season 2 of the game, it is the cheapest ship with flak, I think, from a Colonial standpoint. I'm going to add another chef here.
Depends. I mean, the Valkyrie is only 50 points more.
That's true.
Brings a Mark 1 and a munition slot. If you don't upgrade them, it's free. I must say for the Heracles, the flag is more, I would say it's a good flag field.
Yeah,
it's bigger than the Heracles. But the weak spots of the ship are the side armor platings. And if you fly it sideways and use the flag, it's easy to get knocked out.
This is the Artemis.
Because
okay, go on. What else?
Sides are very thin.
All right, this is the
Found the
Artemis.
Heracles to be a good support for
Yeah,
Battlestar.
good
Sorry,
support.
go on.
And if you want it to hit hard, and you got a couple of Battlestars that are closer, taking the heavy hits, that's very effective both against humans and against some of the campaign fleets. This is the Artemis. The Artemis's advantage. This is a drop low type of ship. It has 3 times the upward facing firepower as downward facing firepower. It's got 2 squadron slots which can do Mark IIs or any fighter except for the
Even a bigger
Mark
difference
7.
because on the bottom it has only the heavy guns, I think, and on the top it has Battlestar artillery.
Yep, and so it's better able from below to deal with fighters and things like that.
Yes,
And
it
the weapon
wants to
slot are
dive.
very powerful, and its flak is pretty good. Although it's very concentrated flak. If you do the self-flacking trick, which most people think they invent when they figure it out in the game, you put this guy next to a Mercury or a Jupiter, and you have it self-flack for 4 or 5 turns, and all of a sudden you find the armor starts to melt away on the nearby ships. You got to be careful with the flak on this ship. It can eat through armor like acid. Your flak from your own ships can hurt your own ships. That's don't do that at home. Tip number 3. Again, 1 weapon slot
and for
and
I would
2
say
Viper
for
slots.
Battlestar, it's really fast ship for Battlestar in comparison to the Jupiters.
Yep, and a fast fleet is very helpful. And if you going against a ship like the Mercury that has great forward guns, it has the speed and agility. It can get under a Mercury or a Jupiter or a big Cylon ship and get out of range of the forward guns of the Mercury, which are its biggest feature, the forward guns. You know what you see from Pegasus until Pegasus gets blown up in season 3, episode 6 of the series. But I'm sorry about the spoiler alert on that if you didn't know that or haven't already. But since Battlestar Galactica finished airing in 2009, my assumption is everybody knows how it turned out. Minerva is an interesting ship. It has very weak boost to its fighters, but the Minerva is there for another reason. It's got very good, very accurate guns, and it's got 2 weapon slots. So its fighters are middling. The boosts aren't that good. A lot of people fly the Minerva. It's pretty fast, but it can't dive as fast or rise as fast as the Artemis. But compared to a heavy Battlestar, it is fast, and it has 3 times the upward facing guns as downward facing guns. It does have guns on the bottom of the flight pod that are pretty accurate. I remember one time against Explosive, I did a 40-degree bank turn around his fighters, and I didn't aim at his fighters. I left that on automatic. He had 8 squadrons against me, and
firepower is comparable to the Artemis, but it has a very good range advantage over all other Colonial ships.
So having one of those, it gets you the first blood.
And this ship only is useful if you make use of the range advantage, because otherwise it will melt very fast.
Yeah, it's got very weak armor. It's described as a glass cannon by most people. Now, the cool thing about the guns on the bottom of the flight pod is, I once against Explosive in a tournament. Explosive is Madness's friend from Germany, one of the best players that ever touched the game. I did without even aiming at the fighters, I banked the ship as hard as I could and did a turn around the fighters. I was hoping to get a shot the next turn, but the bank angle and I forgot to set automatic fire on it, and what was started out the turn as 8 squadrons of Vipers on the explosive part turned out to be asking a turn later, what happened to his fighters? And we looked at the videotape later, and because this guy had such a very good firing angle from its port-mounted PPCs or whatever type of gun is mounted underneath his flight pods, it completely wiped out explosive air wings. That didn't stop me from losing ships, but it was kind of it's an interesting ship with strengths and weaknesses. Anything else about the and its engines? It looks cool in the game when you're making videos too. All right. Anything else about the?
Yeah, there's one thing. It has the most PDCs of all Battlestars, as far as I know. I'm not sure about the Mercury, but for every other Battlestar, the Minerva has 11 PDCs on the sides, on the pods, where all others have 8 or 7, as I know.
I see.
And it gives you around about 50% more capability to deal with fighter wings.
Well, that's true.
Because the side PDCs are good against approaching fighters.
And if you tell that you can program your guns on each of these ships when we get to the combat demonstration portion to concentrate on capital ships, which wins you the game. But if you concentrate on fighters with them over capital ships under certain circumstances, then the enemy has no fighters and you win the game. Because fighters are the most important thing not to run out of in this game for most configurations. Next is the 3 ships left to go here. We have Jupiter. You earn that toward the end of the first game. And let's get rid of the other ships. They're going to distract from attention here. Dink. Jupiter 1 is the design. It became canon because of the game makers were allowed to make a canon. It was the first version of the Jupiter. It has 20 less armor on most of the plating. It carries 2 fighter squadrons and 1 Raptor squadron. It contains 1 weapon slot, which I think is kind of ridiculous. It's more advanced and newer than the Minerva, but
Artemis.
It should have more. It should have more weapons choices. I think weapons choices were just a matter of gameplay and issues, and programming a game to imitate a television show is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, in the universe they would have hundreds of rocket launchers and not one.
Right. This guy's got
for game sake and balancing factors.
Right. This guy's got 8. Okay. I know that the game makers went through a lot of different configurations before they settled on what they put the game out with, and they made several adjustments to firing rates and costs to try and balance the game better. But again, when you got a 6-person crew and you have to work for programming, and you have to work with Universal Studios, a company that at one point tried to sue me for operating a free simulator in Second Life, you just gotta take one and take. Nothing's perfect, and people whine about the game a lot. I whine about the game a lot, but it is absolutely the best Battlestar game. One of the best games I've ever played in my life. Not that I've played that many games, but it beats the pants off of anything I've played.
I've played a lot of games and a lot of strategy games too, and it's still one of the best.
There we go. So this one costs 2,150 points, and it's got 3 connectors to its flight pods. And I'll show you the Jupiter 2 in just a second. I got to swallow some water so I can take my pill.
By the way, a nice little detail about the Jupiter ships is in game. When the ships jump in, you can see how they retract the flight pods. It's really nice.
That is so cool. If you look at my videos at Battlestar Mercury, you'll find I take when I'm jumping a ship away for dramatic purposes. If there's a Jupiter 1 or a Jupiter 2. I try and get a focus on it because it just looks so awesome when it jumps in, the flight pod extends, and right before it jumps out, the flight pod retracts. That was maybe a bit hard to program, but that was freaking awesome. Just totally awesome in my opinion.
It's a shame they forgot about it so much in the show, but then again, that's CGI budgets for you.
Well, yeah, I mean CGI was like $50,000 an hour to use.
Yeah,
and now you get better CGI than available to the show in this game. That's why I had the brilliant idea in 2001 or 2020 or 2021 to actually use the game to illustrate my own fan science fiction.
Fun fact about the series and the Galactica with the retracting flight pods is, as far as I know, please correct me if I'm wrong there, but the guy who wrote the series Galactica had worked on Star Trek before with Voyager.
Oh yes,
Voyager had the holding.
Yeah. Ronald D. Moore. He did a lot. He was with Discovery for Voyager for most of the series, and he worked on Deep Space Nine as well. Legendary Trek writer.
He wanted just something that moves when the ship approaches. It's great.
I think we benefit from that. It's just so awesome. I mean, they use it in the miniseries. Notice here the flight pod connectors. There's 2. This ship has 2,500 points, but it has 2 Raptor slots and 3 fighter slots, and again 1 weapon slot. It can be pretty tanky. It's got very good guns mounted top and bottom, just like the Galactica had, although I can't say I can find any footage of the Galactica's bottom guns shooting anything, if they were even installed. I think they were installed.
I'm not sure.
From the bottom, but I can't. How would you know? I've never seen them. Don't recall ever seeing them shoot. But go to battlestarmercury.com and tell me I'm wrong. Show me a piece of footage, and I will gladly admit it.
Or as I saw it, they always were a little bit rolled to the side and were shooting the top guns and the guns on one of the flight pods, because the other one was deactivated or so. Because this museum stuff they put in there,
the right
was
flight
damaged
pod,
heavily.
The right flight pod was a museum before the series even started. All right, Mercury has got it's got the 4 engines in the back, or was it 6 engines in the back? I forget. But 2,500 points. If you have a fleet of these, they're very tanky, they're very slow, and the Cylons have tactics so that they can deal with it from long range. You need a mix of speed. You can't just having a fleet of all Jupiters is not going to do very well. But it's a fun ship, and it's the hero ship of the show, and of course the game doesn't let you in person name anything the Galactica. That was kind of annoying, but that was their choice on what to do. So we're going to go here, and we're going to show the last ship. I did skip the Defender because it's slightly controversial, and
wait before you move on to the next step. I want to say that the 2 support squadron slots on the Mark II are sometimes a little bit too much if you don't have the fleet points to bring assault raptors or so, because then you have a lot of normal raptors which most of the time are not that useful. But they can be made good use of if you know what to do with them. Because you can, if you don't bring a Manticore, for example. I don't know if you
they can scout. They're
explained the value of scouting.
Oh yeah, now I was playing on the second part. But yeah, they're good for scout ships, and also they have antivirus capabilities. They can boost firewall on ships other than their home ship that they're built. And, yeah. So they land in there and they boost the firewall. So if you can't have assault raptors have more fun to fire missiles than 2 missile salvos. It's still useful to have because they can help. 20 points, a little extra, 20 or 30 or 40 points extra firewall strength is enough to keep the Cylons out of your firewall. The Mercury has more advanced firewalls, and apparently Bolter would have to write a special version of CNP to get into the Mercury from the game standpoint. But seriously, the older ships definitely benefit from boosting the boost of a Raptor. If you keep the Cylons out of your subsystems, which they can wreck, and the Colonials, even if they board, that's the other good factor you can do with 2 ships. You can do antivirus. That's Seeker and regular Raptor, but the regular Raptors are the only ones that can invade enemy ships, but they don't damage subsystems like the Cylons do. But they do. Any ship they're boarding loses 15% accuracy and some range on their weapons systems. So it helps a lot. But I would think the Colonials would know enough from a standpoint of lore if they board a ship, how they could probably figure out dropping a grenade in the CPU will probably slow the Cylons down a little bit. You'd figure the Marines would do a little more damage than they did, but again, that involved programming resources and real life financial resources. Never
really take down a ship from the inside. They just give some negative stats for precision on the ship that is entered by Marines, and until the Marines are dead or the Defender Marines or Cylons are dead, then nothing more happens.
Now, interesting history of the Mercury here. The Mercury, when it was first introduced, was when the development of the game stopped in 2020. And it had 2 Viper slots and 2 Raptor slots, just like the Jupiter. Because of balance issues, because they didn't think it was powerful enough, they switched it to give it a 3rd fighter slot, which the Mark 7 is at least 2 times the value of a Mark II squadron in capabilities and destructiveness and everything else. The Mercury is
maybe more in defensive aspects.
I said at least two. If you survey 10 players, you'll get numbers between 2 times as good as Mark II to 4 times. But definitely the most effective at shooting down inbound missiles, Mark 7. Most effective at shooting down enemy Vipers, Mark 7. Than any other ship in the game, any other fighter in the game. So,
that's true, but I'm not sure if the Mark 7s are faster than the Mark 2s, really.
I don't think they are. If it is, it's only 10 meters a second.
I have Cerberus guide here.
Right, take a look
the
at
Viper
that.
Mark 7 has a speed of
280, right?
380 meters a second, and the Mark IIs are, if I remember correct, are 360.
So it's you don't slow down.
Advantage.
Yeah, you don't slow down very much by teaming up Mark 7s and Mark 2s, and
the Mark 1s are the most useless against enemy munition. They are not useless in the fight. They are acceptable because they are at least better than the normal prototype raiders.
And a good use of the Mark II squadrons. If you're attacking a squadron, and there's a lot of enemy squadrons, you send them in a formation. You have the Mark IIs. They can stay back and defend the assault raptors, or they can watch the 6s of the Mark 7s, making the Mark 7s more effective, and that's a very good strategy. You send the Mark 7s.
I must correct myself here. It's both the Mark 2s and the Mark 7s are the same speed.
280, 380. Okay, good to know. So that's the end of the demonstrate the ships for the new. I'll leave the Defender out. We'll do a special episode on the Defender some other time. I'm going to say now. I'm going to continue sharing my game. I'm going to challenge. Oh, let me save this fleet. So it's. If you don't save,
I don't know if you want to make start a new video for this.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think we should probably start a new video. That video stands on its own. Let me hit the back button here and hit the save on that one. All right, and let's just give me a minute to do that. Hit stop recording, and then it converts it from MKV to everything has happened before and will happen again.
Streaming now at YouTube and BattlestarMercury.com.
motion pictures